Yeah. So I'll be in one. My wife was extreme. How do you get to you then? I got there. On my way out the door and finally. Hello, guys.
Yes. Good afternoon.
I'm sorry?
Good afternoon. Notice of a public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given at the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene a regular meeting on October 3rd, 2023 at 5 p.m. in the City Commission chambers located on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall Old Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas 78520. Members of the public who submitted a public comment form will be permitted to offer public comments as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting. A recording of the meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with Open Meetings Act. Mayor, it is now 5:02. You may call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Yoli. Being that we have a quorum, I'd like to call today's meeting to order.
Okay, next item is invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. My name is Lance Hostetter, and I serve with Central Christian Church on Alton Glore. Will you join me in prayer? Dear Sovereign God, we thank you for the recent rain that has fallen on our city, and we ask for more. We now ask your blessing upon this meeting. We pray for our commissioners, and we pray that they'll be unified on the essentials, give liberty on opinions, and show grace in all the discussions. As elected officials, please help them to make decisions that will expand and enhance the quality of life for all of our citizens, and help us as citizens to be good neighbors, to seek justice, love mercy, and walk humbly before you. As a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I pray this in his name. Amen. United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the Texas state.
Next item, we have proclamation. The first proclamation is recognizing Municipal Court Week 2023. Municipal Court.
A proclamation of the City Commission of the Brownsville, Texas, recognizing the week of November 6th through the 10th, 2023 as Municipal Court Week. Whereas the Brownsville Municipal Court, a time-honored and vital part of local government, has been in existence since December 26th, 1941. And whereas municipal courts play a significant role in preserving public safety and promoting quality of life in Texas. And whereas More people come in contact with municipal courts than all other Texas courts combined, and public impression of the Texas judicial system is largely dependent upon the public's experience in municipal court. And whereas state law authorizes a municipality to either appoint or elect a municipal judge for a term of office, the Brownsville Municipal Court is a state court, and its judges are members of the state judiciary. And whereas the procedures of the Brownsville Municipal Court operations are set forth in the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure and other laws of the state of Texas. And whereas the city of Brownsville is committed to the notion that our legal system is based on the principle that an independent, fair, and competent judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us, and the judges and court personnel should comply with the law and act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. And whereas the Brownsville municipal judges are not policymakers for the city of Brownsville, but are bound by the law and the canons of the judicial conduct and are required to make decisions independent of the governing body of the city council, city officials, and employees. And whereas the city commission recognizes that the Constitution and laws of the state of Texas contain procedural safeguards in criminal cases for all defendants, including indigent defendants, and supports the Brownsville Municipal Court in complying with such legal requirements. Now therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue and authority vested by the charter of said city, and on behalf of all of our citizens, do hereby recognize the week of November 6th through November 10th, 2023 as Municipal Court Week, in recognition of the fair and impartial justice offered to our citizens by the Municipal Court of Brownsville, Texas, done on this third day of October, 2023. Would somebody like to share some words?
I'll be brief. Judge DeCos was not able to be here with us this afternoon. He's recovering from a back surgery. He did want me to thank the commission, especially to allow us to operate as an independent and fair municipal court. So thank you all, and especially thank you to our city manager, Helen Ramirez, Mr. Mayor, and commissioners. Thank you all.
Next proclamation is recognizing Head Start Awareness Month.
So this is a proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, recognizing and designating the month of October 2023 as Head Start Awareness Month. Whereas established in 1965, Head Start is a national, federally funded early childhood development program that serves children and families whose purpose is to help children achieve their full potential. And whereas Head Start provides comprehensive health, nutritional, educational, social services, family and community development, and meaningful parent involvement. And whereas Head Start focuses on children's language development, early literacy, social skills, and giving their parents the skills and in becoming their child's first and best teacher. And whereas Head Start is committed to the development of each child and provides preventative and early intervention services to children and families regardless of their economic status. And now, therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the charter of said city and on behalf of all our citizens, do hereby recognize and designate the month of October 2023 as Head Start Awareness Month, and that the needs of children and families not only in Brownsville but in South Texas must be a top priority for future decision makers. Done on this, the third day of October 2023.
On behalf of our Executive Director, Derek Kowalski, and our Board of Directors and our Parent Policy Council, we would like to thank the Mayor and the members of the Commission for this proclamation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have public comment period. Just as a reminder, public input during meetings, conversations between or among audience members should be conducted outside the meeting room. Attendees should refrain from conversation while commission is in session. Cell phones attendees must refrain from the operation and use of cellular telephones, pagers, etc., or any mechanical devices that may disrupt city commission proceedings. Placards, banners, or signs are not permitted in the commission chambers or in any other room in which the city commission conducts a meeting. Included in this prohibition are various hats, caps, visors, and t-shirts, which may represent sentiments as alluded to regarding placards, banners, and/or signs. Exhibit displays and visual aids used in connection with presentations to the city commission are permitted. Only city commission members and city staff may approach the dais. If report letter is to be presented to the commission, it should be given to the city secretary or staff who will make the distribution. It is preferable that the item to be distributed be given to the city secretary prior to the meeting time. A copy of the item should be made available for the city secretary's official record. All comments shall be made to the mayor and city commission as a whole, not to individual commission members. Mayor, we do have 9 public comment receipt forms. First one, Ms. Yolanda Spees.
Yes, and Mayor, since there's 9 speakers and the rules allow, I believe, only 6, we would need a motion to suspend the rules to allow the remaining speakers.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
It's come to my attention that Officer Cervantes just got promoted to investigator, even though he is ignorant of the law and police procedure. I also found out that Officer Trujillo, the other officer involved in aiding and abetting in the theft of my dog, Dobie, used excessive force on 2 people during a routine stop, but was only suspended for 2 days back in July 2022. Those things happened after my experience with these 2 police officers. Had the appropriate actions been taken in my experience, Trujillo would have never had the opportunity to use excessive force on those 2 people because he would have been forced to undergo extra training for not knowing the law. 2 days suspension for excessive force hardly seems like enough time to conduct a thorough investigation with the negligent and abusive actions of this police officer. Courts ruled that Vargas was supposed to give me back Dobie. Instead, she lied again to the police and said the dog got lost in a drive-by shooting in Brownsville when the grandmother lived in El Paso. Why was the dog still in Brownsville months after April 18th? Imagine what would have happened to me had I refused to hand over Dobie. I could have been arrested by either Trujillo or Cervantes, and I also could have lost my job. I handed over Dobie under duress. There was nothing voluntary, and Cervantes lied on that police report. So I cooperated only to find out that officers Trujillo and Cervantes are enforcing the law, do not know it, and they don't know procedure. That seems dangerous to Brownsville residents, don't you think? Don't you simply, you simply not care because you are on the commission and you think they won't come after you? Think again, just ask a former mayor and former city commissioner that got arrested for DUI. Bottom line, you can fix this. Police need better training. Police need to know the law so no one has to feel this gut-wrenching experience. The commission can fix this. You can order more training and quarterly training to refresh their memories. They represent and enforce the law, and we are paying for it with no good return on investment. We don't deserve to be hurt physically or emotionally. We definitely don't deserve to be verbally abused at 5 a.m. while we have a loved one dying in the hospital. Don't just smile at me and laugh it off, because I'll be back again to remind you. When you do that, don't you realize it's a victimization on me yet again? I gave up Dobie under duress. I was scared. I thought I was going to be arrested or face some potential serious excessive force. It isn't just about the dog anymore. It's about how dangerous Brownsville PD is and your refusal to fix this with better training and maybe some serious disciplinary action for the blatant abuse of the badge. You think it won't happen again, or it won't happen to you because you're sitting there? Well, then be sure to tell that to Pat O'Mata and Charlie Atkinson. Pretty soon it will be one of you when you least expect it. Regular citizens like myself have to deal with this every day. I'm a concerned citizen and I'm asking you for help. So help me and the rest of Brownsville. After all, it's part of your job and now you're getting paid for it.
Next, we have Enrique Melguizo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners. On behalf of the class of 1964 of St. Joseph Academy, it is my pleasure and everybody's pleasure to invite you all for the unveiling of two historical markers. For the ceremony of the unveiling of two historical markers at the current location, at the original location of St. Joseph Academy, which is located between Elizabeth and Levy Street and 6th and 7th Street. You will notice that there's about 20 yards of a wall that still stands. That's the only structure that is left of the original St. Joseph Academy. This recognition is not because of the wall. It's to recognize the great contribution of the Marist organizations, not only for Brownsville and Matamoros, but for other cities throughout the county. We started this project a little bit before COVID-19. And this year, we finally got the two historical markers. It was a long process because of the COVID-19, mainly because of the backlog that existed in the Texas Historical Commission. And it would be our honor to have you there present. Mr. Mayor, we would like for you to be one of the speakers in that ceremony. There will be a section of VIP sitting. The bishop has already confirmed his attendance, so has the county judge and one of the county commissioners. I hope that all of you confirm your attendance. It would be our honor to have you there. And then St. Joseph Academy as a school is giving a reception at the current location of St. Joe. Any questions? Doubt? No?
Can you tell us the date again?
I'm sorry?
The date?
Oh, I didn't tell you? November the 9th at 4:30 in the afternoon. I didn't bring notes. I usually talk better when I talk from my heart. And this is a topic that's very close to our heart.
Thank
Any
you so
doubt?
much, Enrique.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to leave the invitation for you and for all of the commissioners with the city secretary, if that's all right with you all. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Adlemi Sanchez.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, city commissioners, and Mayor John Cohen. My name is Adlemi Sanchez, and I stand before you not just as an individual, but as a representative of our community. I'm a mother, a wife, a daughter, a friend, and a neighbor. I am an employee of the university. I'm a parishioner and a leader with Valley Interfaith at St. Eugene Catholic Church. Today, I bring you not just our concerns, but our rising sense of frustration and anger. Our community has been pushed to the brink of desperation, and it's become abundantly clear that we can no longer tolerate the sluggishness and inaction of our state agencies such as TCEQ. Our demand for a resolution is no longer a polite request. It's an urgent plea to our basic quality of life, our clean air, and the restoration of our neighborhood to the peace and cleanliness it once was. We demand that Millwhite Incorporated at 5487 South Padre Island Highway be shut down. Our situation dates back to over a decade and has escalated since February of 2023, and the threats of our health have becoming glaringly evident. TCEQ's response has been marked by inefficiency and indifferences. As the previous town hall meeting on September 6th, it was infuriating to witness TCEQ's attempt to evade responsibility over a permit 7537 they issued in 2010 and then again in 2020, knowing that there were known complaints and violations. We are done and pleading and requesting. We are here to demand action from our elected city officials. We've collected hundreds of signatures through petitions, both online and in person, and we have organized tirelessly and secured resources we need. We are doing the groundwork, and we have organized, and we need you guys to do your part. Millwhite Incorporated has shown nothing but lack of concern towards the known violations outlined by the exhaustive 28-page report by TCEQ's investigation report. Their empty promises of resolution of 2 weeks have become bitter joke, as 7 months long have passed and no relief in sight. Our community remains imprisoned within our own homes, while our neighborhood is covered in dust and neglect. An email sent on September 19 to City Manager Helen Ramirez and City Commissioner Linda Macias highlights additional concerns such as demanding TCEQ to be held accountable for the recklessly renewing their permits, coordinating with other agencies as we have attempted to do complaints with Texas DOT, EPA, and Texas Department of Agriculture. Ordinances that have violations, noise nuisance, rubbish on streets, property maintenance and debris control, road maintenance, and fire safety and facility endangerment. TCEQ's investigation report states that their endangerment, and we demand a fire code inspection, as they lack a certificate of occupancy, and it's clearly a safety concern. We also request for rezoning the area from industrial to light commercial. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Cesar Lugo. Next, we have Rosie Reyes.
No, for
3 minutes, ma'am.
I put this very quick. I was working, so I hope it comes out as good as I thought it would. So good afternoon, Mayor Cohen, esteemed members of the City Council, and fellow citizens. My name is Rosie Rubio Reyes. I live in 622 Rey Jaime Street, and today I stand before you as a concerned mother, neighbor, and member of the vibrant community. I am here to address a pressing concern that has been affecting me and my family personally for many years. I would like to draw your attention to Millwhite Inc., which is an industry of minerals located at 5487 South Padre Island Highway. My home is just feet away from this facility, which supplies clay to refineries, pharmaceuticals, and animal feed additives. It provides a broad range of products for animals, oil and gas explorations, and other industrial uses. And therefore, this facility should not be located near a residential area. We are being affected by Millwhite's negligence on a daily basis. The issue has persisted for many, many years, and they have been very aware of the situation with no remorse whatsoever. We have filed numerous complaints with TCEQ However, the cycle remains the same. We file a case, they visit them, they get cited, they pay the fines, and everything continues time after time. Laboratory reports from TCEQ confirms that the dust affecting our homes indeed originates from millwhite. I have many proofs where we go back many, many years, and like I said, this continues, and so far we haven't gotten into any resolutions. This substitutes our claim and underscores the seriousness of the issue, and we do not understand why the city of Brownsville has not been able to do something to stop this. I personally have spoken to Mayor Cohen, Texas State Senator Morgan Lamatia, and other city officials in regards to the situation and expressed our dire condition in hopes to seek some help. But it appears that my words have gone unheard. Who else should we voice our concerns to if it's not the city officials? This has gotten out of control and only gets worse. Millwhite continues to fill and overpass their land with piles of materials showing no remorse to the affected families. This matter has by far reached consequences impacting not only our lives, but our well-being. They have affected our homes, vehicles, pets, plants, our belongings, but most importantly, our health. And with this, I add our mental health. As I have stated to some of you before, we are in fact prisoners in our own home, and this is absolutely unacceptable. We are very hardworking citizens and deserve to be at peace in our own home. I implore you, Mayor and City Council members to make this matter seriously and explore all possible avenues to address it. We cannot continue to suffer the consequences of this situation, and we believe it's within your power to find solution that protects our community's interest. So we beg of you to please help us. Like we've mentioned, we've been here before, and I personally have spoken to some of you, and honestly, I don't see any feedback from your part.
Time
We're
is up.
asking for your help. Please help us.
Next, we have Gloria Valdez. Gloria Valdez. Next, we have Griselda Hernandez. Genoveva Garza. Three minutes, ma'am.
Buenas tardes. Yo lo único que quiero decirles a todas las autoridades es que yo vivo en la subdivisión Villas del Rey 2 y personalmente yo y todos mis vecinos somos muy afectados por la compañía Millwhite. Nosotros venimos de un encierro de COVID y nosotros seguimos encerrados con el COVID. Los niños no pueden salir a jugar, a disfrutar el medio ambiente. Nuestras casas son dañadas, nuestros autos son dañados, están llenos de polvo. Yo vivo específicamente atrás de la compañía, en una esquina, y en mi casa está lleno de polvo, el closet, el piso, las paredes. Nuestros filtros del aire acondicionado los tengo que cambiar muy seguido porque están llenos de ese polvo. Yo sé que este es un problema muy fuerte. Esa compañía daña físicamente, psicológicamente. Yo personalmente estoy muy cansada. Mis nietos no pueden ir a visitarme. Mis hijos están encerrados. Yo quisiera tocar los corazones de ustedes. Ni los mismos dueños de la compañía podrían vivir en ese lugar donde nosotros estamos viviendo. Quiero mi casa, quiero mis vecinos, quiero vivir tranquilamente. Agradezco a Linda Macías, a la comisionada, que es la primera que se sumó a nuestro movimiento, pero realmente ustedes, confiamos en ustedes, las autoridades. Sé que ustedes ayudan a la ciudadanía y en este caso yo vengo a pedirles a ustedes, la compañía trabaja día y noche, 24 horas, genera un ruido tremendo, aparte del polvo, de esa contaminación, los arbolitos, todo nosotros estamos como viviendo en el desierto. Entonces, únicamente que ustedes hagan lo que tienen que hacer. Esa compañía tiene mucho polvo, tiene mucho material para trabajar, son los alterones grandes, hemos tocado muchas puertas y bueno, pues nosotros nada más lo único que queremos es vivir en un lugar tranquilo, seguro. Esa compañía debe ser movida de aquí de Brownsville. Lo daña a todos. No nada más a nuestra subdivisión, sino los alrededores, las escuelas. Platicamos con los vecinos que están cerquita de ahí y ellos platican que mucha gente ha enfermado, mucha gente ha muerto. Y entonces creo que pues estamos pasando, al menos yo, un estado emocional muy difícil, que yo confío en que ustedes van a hacer algo por nosotros, la verdad. Les agradezco mucho.
Gracias.
Next, we have Jason Medina. Three minutes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Cohen, City Commissioners, and City Manager Helen Ramirez. My name is Jason Medina, and I'm a pipe fitter and a welder by trade, a blue-collar man, a construction worker, and an advocate for the working class. Over the last decade, I have traveled the country working on projects from petrochemical plants to nuclear power generation units. Regardless of the state I was in at the time, it never failed that I run into other Brownsville citizens. I could spot someone from Brownsville, someone from the Valley, a mile away. It became evident to me that we had an issue on our hands. Brownsville, along with the rest of the Valley, exports much of its talented workforce, myself included. However, we cannot maintain a strong workforce without the work to support them. It's pretty simple. We need the work to support the workers. And we cannot maintain the work if we continue to contract out to companies not invested in the city of Brownsville. Since returning home, I have been involved with skills training and the placement of local workers with local employees. It's a top priority of mine. One local company that I've been working closely with, unfortunately couldn't make it here tonight, Mr. Alfonso de la Fuente with De La Fuente family out at the Port of Brownsville. AD Welding and Welding Works has been a pillar in the Port of Brownsville for over 30 years and counting. In the world of fabrication and welding, the De La Fuente family employs many talented and skilled fabricators, some of the best in the world. I myself, along with AD, are voicing our support in the fabrication of the bus shelters right here in Brownsville. We believe that every cut, every weld, and every man-hour of this project should be performed right here in our city. We know without a doubt that these shelters are a priority to the commission and a necessity to our beloved bus riders. And we are asking for your support in keeping this project Brownsville made. I would also like to mention that I have spoken with several other company owners that have expressed their interest in being involved in such a project. The resources to pull off such an important project are all right here in Brownsville. In construction, if we need something built, we build it, and we stand by ready with our torches and welding hoods ready to build this project. We ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have presentations. First one, 88th Legislative Session recap.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. I'm just going to give a quick introduction to our government affairs in Austin. Luann Martinez with Martinez and Associates. So, Luann Martinez has over 40 years of experience in the Texas governmental and political arenas. She began her career as a legislative aide to former state representative Sarah Weddington of Austin in 1975 and honed her legislative skills working for other elected officials in the Texas Capitol over the next 15 years. Because of her legislative expertise and intricate knowledge of education issues. In 1998, Luann was tapped to serve as Associate Executive Director for Government Relations for the 2,500 members of the Texas Association of School Administrators, a position she held for more than a decade. And then in 2002, she joined Martinez and Associates, an independent government relations firm she co-founded with her late husband, Mario Martinez, where she continued forging strong relations with key lawmakers and policymakers in Austin. So Luann, welcome to City Commission.
Thank you, Rogelio. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm sorry that I'm not there with you tonight, but I hope to be present at future meetings. I've been asked to give you a legislative update for what seems to me that happened months and months ago, but actually only 8 months ago, of the 88th legislative session. And of course, we'll be talking just a few minutes about the upcoming special session. As Rogelio pointed out, I have been in and around this business for almost 5 decades. Maybe I shouldn't admit that, but I can tell you that advocacy is never successful unless you are present and actively engaged in the Texas legislature. The city of Brownsville absolutely understood that and made it a priority to be very visible and very accessible to members of the legislature, and certainly with the Brownsville delegation. You've got really some great delegation members that represent you up in Austin. I know because I'm here in the office, I would see Helen Ramirez, the city manager, and of course Rogelio, and your former mayor Trey Mendez here. And I certainly met your Mayor Cowan. Very active, as the slide indicates. They were here at least a couple of times a month, and that was, as you probably know, for 140 days and about 5 months. They were very dedicated to being up here constantly and consistently. And of course, the city had some priorities for this session, one of which was to ensure that Brownsville would be authorized to receive revenue from the hotel occupancy tax. House Bill 2282 was filed by one of your new delegation members, Representative Aaron Gamez. And the other issue, of course, was creating the new Space Commission. And the last big issue was, again, expanding the broadband issue in Texas. The next slide, we're going to talk specifically about those 3 bills. The Gamez bill, the 2282, there were several bills, multiple bills actually, that allowed single shot cities. So Brownsville was actively trying to receive that authority. I think after multiple bills, single shot bills were filed, there was a decision to roll them all into one big omnibus bill, which was House Bill 5012. So we, in fact, were very successful in allowing Brownsville to have access to that tax revenue. And of course, we talked just a few minutes ago about creating the Space Consortium bill. This was a huge effort and a huge appropriation, I might add, that will create, obviously, both research and expansion of the space industry here in Texas. There are only 2 other states in the nation that have anything remotely like the Space Commission, and that's Florida and California. The third bill was, of course, the development and expansion of the broadband bill, and this, of course, is expanding the broadband across the state of Texas. This, too, was vitally important because, again, and this, by the way, will be contingent on proposition at the general election in November, will provide money to expand services to the city like the 911 and the emergency services. So this was very critical. Of the 200, almost 250 bills, that's okay, really, you can go to the next slide. We broke a record this session. Over 8,000 bills were filed. This broke a record, believe it or not. The next highest session that filed bills was back in 2009. They had over 7,000 bills. It's pretty extensive. We tracked over 230 of those. Specifically had impacting on cities like Brownsville. And then, of course, we indicate that Brownsville submitted at least 6 cards in favor of the bills, 12 cards in opposition. Again, having that many bills to try to cover that much area is quite a task. And again, I commend the city for being very visible and active during the legislative session. You already know we've already had 2 specials. The major one this summer was to get property tax relief. That too will be on the November 7th ballot, increasing the homestead exemption from $40,000 to $100,000. We have just recently learned since the printing of this slideshow that the governor has indeed called a 3rd special to start this Monday, October the 9th. That will, we understand, the governor has not issued the proclamation yet, but we understand it will be focused on vouchers, school vouchers. Depending on how that goes, we understand that the governor may in fact expand the call, not just to school vouchers, but talk a little bit about border security. We didn't have as much success on passing legislation regarding border security. So the governor is interested in expanding that. And in addition, there are 80 bills that the governor vetoed during the regular, most of them in part because there wasn't a decision on the property tax relief. So the governor vetoed some of these bills, basically sending a message to legislators that if they wanted to get some of these issues passed, they were going to first have to pass the property tax relief bill, which they have done. 2 of the bills that Brownsville opposed, and by the way, TML and the cities opposed these 2 issues. We anticipate that these, in fact, may be brought up again during a special, whether it's the 3rd call special or potentially a 4th call special. We may very well be in special sessions between now and up into Christmas. That's what the governor is saying. He will keep members here in Austin. These 2 bills, again, as I said, the city of Brownsville did oppose, and we need to be watching out for those. But this first one is regarding the tax rate collection and essentially requiring an additional form to be put on the forms that will be a hyperlink, ensuring the accuracy of the tax rate calculation. The other Betancourt bill, Senate Bill 2035, would prohibit anticipation notes and certificates of obligations to be issued if in fact there had been a bond election that had been rejected within the preceding 5 years. Both of these would be stifling and would be detrimental to cities across Texas. If in fact we ever do finish up these special sessions as normal, they're supposed to be an interim. This will be a short interim, but nevertheless, what will happen when the specials are done, we expect that both the lieutenant governor and the speaker will issue interim charges. Now, what we can do and what we need to do for the city of Brownsville, we need to make sure that if there are some specific issues that we want the committees to study during the interim, that we need to have input into that process. Typically, what happens during the interim, committees will meet, and then before the next regular session, which of course will be January of 2025, each of the committees will issue reports, and many times those reports ultimately end up being bills that are filed. So it is a very good way for us to stay very engaged in the process and provide input to our policymakers. Again, this is all looking forward to the beginning of next session, which is right around the corner, believe it or not, but in 2025. That's a fast and furious, and I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any thoughts.
I would just also like to thank Commissioner Cardenas, who did go with us to help on get some more transportation dollars as well.
Well, thank you, Luann, for all your hard work, and I really appreciate working with you. And again,
Thank you,
I
Mayor.
know this happened a while ago, but my condolences to you on Mario, and
Thank
he's
you.
he's definitely missed here in Brownsville.
Well, I can say to you and that Brownsville was very important to Mario. And I think he'd worked with you for many, many years and it was a priority. It was kind of his second home. So I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Look forward to working with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item, we have after-hours establishments presentation.
I can speak loud. Mayor, City Commission, I'm Commander James Pascal. With me is Commander Kirk Massey. He's with Uniform Service Division, that's Patrol Division. This presentation is regarding after-hour establishments and the need to establish an ordinance. After-hours businesses do not sell alcohol. Alcohol is brought in by the patron, and the establishments charge a cover and sell food and setups of soft drinks and ice. These businesses are not licensed by the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission and are not subject to state laws that regulate businesses that sell alcohol. Their operating hours are typically from 9 or 10 at night to 5 or 6 in the morning. We currently have no city ordinance that regulates these types of business. This is Chapter 22 of the City of Brownsville Code of Ordinances that cover businesses and alcohol. The only reference our ordinance makes for rules refers to the state laws under the Alcoholic Beverage Code. Again, these establishments do not sell alcohol and are not subject to state law. We currently have 3 establishments in the City of Brownsville. Collectively, they have increased the police department's calls volume by 181 calls for service over the last 12 months. Here are some of the calls for service. If you'll look at the 5th bullet, you'll see an entry of officer-initiated patrols listing 44 calls. Patrol supervisors are currently assigning officers as impact teams to address these establishments. Each entry represents at least 2 officers and sometimes up to 4 officers. The officers assigned remain in the parking lot to deter intoxicated drivers from getting on the road and just keeping the peace, making sure there are no major events from these clubs. Police department is planning to work with the city attorney's office, planning department, fire and health departments to establish regulations to cover these after-hour establishments and bring a proposal back to the city commission for approval under a public hearing agenda item. With no current city ordinances, there is a loophole that exists for these businesses that allow alcohol consumption and are not subject to any regulations. The most important aspect the police department wants to see in this proposed ordinance is the closing the loophole that allows operation after 2:15 a.m. Having potentially intoxicated individuals on the street at 3, 4, 5, and even 6 in the morning is a public safety issue. People are getting up and going to work at that time, and children are getting ready to go to school. Some of the other rules we would propose to work on would be basic COs, signage at each entrance, minimum age restrictions, approved security plan, a minimum of 1 security officers per 100 patrons, and a security video system. I'll entertain questions at this time.
Commander, and thank you guys for putting this together. I know this is something I've spoken to a few members of the department about, as well as the city attorney's office. One of the other things I think would be good to consider as we work on this language is the exterior lighting at these establishments. So I think several of us have seen the phone footage that people upload inevitably to the internet where there's incidents out there involving patrons or security from these establishments. But in speaking to some of the business owners, not of after hours establishments, but of regular bars, that's one of the concerns is the dim lit areas that lend themselves to hanging around and then ultimately altercations that transpire on the premises, even if it's outside of the establishment. And of course, that puts a burden on you guys. So let's take that into consideration as we move forward on this. But you guys are headed in the right direction. Thank you.
Understood.
Well, I appreciate you guys bringing this. I think it's important. Hopefully legal will start to work on that. Do you need any direction here?
No, we're working on it right now and we'll bring it to you all when it's prepared.
Okay, thank you.
One other suggestion, Mayor, and to the department, it might be a good idea also to have some type of town hall to invite local business owners, both the bar owners or after hours owners, to give their input. I know some of the input that I've heard from bar owners, regular bar owners, is their business is hurting because people will go out later or prefer to go to places like this. And of course, the concern there is we don't know where those transactions are taking place. If it's in a parking lot, if it's out of the back of somebody's car, sales tax revenues aren't being collected by the city on transactions like that. So there's several things to consider, but I don't want the business community to feel like we're not taking them into consideration as we move forward. So an opportunity for them would be good.
Yes, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, we have update on fiscal year 2024 Unified Transportation Program.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Ms. Ramirez, Ms. Walker. Andrew Cannon, Executive Director of the RGV MPO, here to just share some good news on the 10-year Unified Transportation Program that was adopted by TxDOT on August 16th. Ready to move forward, so it was a pretty momentous event, and I wanted to share. A little background on the MPO very briefly. I think most everybody here knows that. We serve 3,200 square miles of the valley, making up Cameron, Starr, and a portion of, Cameron, Hidalgo, and a portion of Starr County. A population of 1.8 million people. So we're pretty excited about our responsibilities. A little bit on the UTP, it was a record $142 billion for transportation that was approved by TxDOT, the highest ever. Some exciting portions of that is that 54% of that UTP is state funded. Much of that was made possible through Prop 1 and Prop 7, which were constitutional amendments approved by the citizens of Texas, which allowed for the transference of automobile sales tax, for instance, to be used for transportation. A divergence of rainy day funds after it reaches a certain portion, a certain funding amount, a portion of the rainy day fund is shifted over to transportation. So that's great that that was done. And $7.5 billion in preventive maintenance. That's the highest that TxDOT's ever had for preventive maintenance statewide. Surely not enough, but a lot more than historically what they've received. Just some high altitude projects to discuss, $556 million in category 2. One of the big projects that stands out for us is the I-69 connector, which is that high-speed arterial to connect I-69C to I-69E. And also it's one of 3 legs for hopefully what will connect up with the outer loop around the Harlingen-San Benito area and then finally to the second causeway. So it's an important project. Glad to see that with the availability to start moving forward on that. Just a couple of the corridors that are being looked at. There's no final alignment suggested yet. They're not through with the environmental process, but we did want to provide that to the public as something for informational purposes. And then on category 7, which is the funding that the RGV MPO board selects, we look at that as local dollars. A couple of those projects, South Parallel Corridor project, almost $6.8 million to go on that project. And of course, the Nolana Loop, the continuation of that east out of the Harlingen, out of the McAllen FAR area, moving east towards Weslaco. a major east-west arterial for us as well. And in category 9, the Transportation Alternative Program funds, $38 million of that out there for non-motorized vehicles that we have so far. There's another $9 million that we're hoping to take to the policy board in October for adoption as well, that went through the latest round of TASA program calls. So we're pretty excited about that. The video for you there is a project that we have in Hidalgo County, a Freddie Gonzalez project. Most importantly about that, it's my staff wanted to be sure I showed it. So these are visual aids that my staff is capable of doing. And we offer those services to our partners at the cities and at the counties. If there's anything we can do to help you promote some projects that you would have, Fernando in my office would certainly be willing to do that. We make them much larger and much more dynamic, but for the purposes of this presentation, it's just a small clip.
Get your glove over there, coach. No, come over here.
That is not me. I am at times accused of being possessed, but I'm pretty certain that didn't come from me. So, but that's a small inset just to advertise, if you will, what we are capable of doing at the MPO and what my staff would like to continue to do of regionalism to help identify. The remarkable thing that we find about these illustrations is that they definitely penetrate their language barrier. It doesn't matter. People have a full understanding of what the projects are looking like, what the projects will do, and hopefully the end product as we move forward. And then, of course, some additional highlights out of the Category 10 Carbon Reduction Program, which I think some of you have heard from us previously. We've worked closely with Ms. Ramirez and your staff. Some of the projects that came out of there, the $11 million for the Far Bridge parking lot, help us reduce our carbon footprint, 375 parking spaces. Regional signal improvements, $1.89 million. $945,000 of that, which was delegated to the Brownsville area for 47 signalized intersections. So that is something that we were working on. Brownsville has been generous enough to agree to be the fiduciary agent with the city of Harlingen on moving forward on acquiring the controllers and whatnot that have been identified through the process. Everybody signed off on it, so we're happy for that. Of course, in the area, Southmost Nature Trail, $7.5 million for that, almost 5 miles of project there that we were able to swap out from traditional funds and use this so we could move forward with it. And then solely in the Brownsville area are the bus bursts that we've worked with your staff on to be able to provide an additional lane, a curb cut, if you will, for the buses to be able to egress and regress, safe unloading, offloading. And also it helps with the carbon reduction because we allow traffic to continue to flow through. And then at a safe time, that bus will move out into the main lanes and continue on instead of blocking 50% of the lanes traveling through, if you will, and having vehicles idle. So with that, temporarily, here's my contact info. You can get hold of me and I'd be glad to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you so much for the presentation and for offering the visual. That always goes a long way. So I will definitely be approaching you for help on some visuals that we can implement.
Yes, ma'am. We'd be
Thank
glad
you.
to do that.
Mr. Cannon will be leaving the RGV MPO, so we wish you the best of luck with your future endeavors, but also thank you for being the first executive director of the RGV MPO.
Yes, I have 24 more days. So just in time for our final policy board meeting in October, a change of chairs there in concurrence with our bylaws. Commissioner Fuentes from Precinct 1 will be ascending to chairman, and we'll be electing a new vice chair from the Cameron County side in relation to our bylaws. And then, yeah, the Friday after that will be my last day. So it's bittersweet after 20 years of being down here. So it'll be a new adventure on the horizon. So.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Wish you best in your new role, and don't forget about us down here.
I won't forget. I'll give you my number, Mayor, so you can call and harass me if I have an oversight of something.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Next item, we have consent agenda items.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve 1 through 7 and 9 through 15 and set aside number 8.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
On number 8, I just wanted to call out, this is actually a 3-year term contract. So the total amount will be $104,965.92. So I just want to make sure that that's in the record. And with that correction, I'd like to make a motion to approve number 8, to approve that contract in that amount.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Next item, we have public hearings. Public hearing in action on ordinance number 2023-1582-A, supplementing and amending ordinance number 2013-1582 relating to the issuance of the City of Brownsville, Texas Utility System Commercial Paper Notes, Series A, authorizing replacement of the dealer for such notes, including execution and delivery of a dealer agreement, and approving and offering memorandum in connection therewith and resolving other matters related thereto.
Yeah, good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners. My name is Mike Bettis. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Brownsville Public Utilities Board. Thank you for having me here. I'll go pretty quickly here through a overview of our commercial paper program, and then end with a summary and a recommended action. So the City Commission initially authorized a $100 million commercial paper program for the BPUB back in 2013. Basically, the proceeds of the commercial paper notes are used to pay for additions and any improvements to the utility system. These notes are short-term debt that carry short-term rates that mature in not less than 4 days and no more than 270 days from the date of issuance. The CP notes are issued in a minimum denomination of $100,000. The issuer borrower is, of course, the City of Brownsville, Texas Utility System. The letter credit provider is PNC Bank. We actually brought an ordinance to the City Commission a year ago to select PNC Bank as the letter of credit provider. The CP dealer, currently Citigroup, will be replaced with JP Morgan Securities LLC, effective November 21st of 2023. The dealer basically sells the commercial paper notes to prospective buyers, such as institutional investors, money market funds, and high net worth individuals. The issuing and paying agent for the commercial paper notes is U.S. Bank. Here we have a timetable of the process that we took to select the commercial paper dealer. So back in August, we took this to the Finance Committee, approved. And then subsequently on September 11, 2023, the BPUB board went ahead and approved a resolution authorizing us to, or requesting us to come to the City Commission to have this supplemental ordinance approved. And so that's hence the reason that we're here today. So in quick summary, in connection with the establishment and authorization of the BPUB Commercial Paper Notes Program, the City Commission previously authorized the execution of a dealer agreement dated November 15, 2013 with Citigroup Global Markets, Inc. Since the term of the dealer agreement with Citigroup ends on November 21, 2023, the BPUB board has determined that it is in the best interest of the issuer to enter into a replacement dealer agreement for the commercial paper notes with JP Morgan Securities LLC. So the BPUB is requesting for the city to approve the supplemental ordinance authorizing replacement of the dealer for BPUB's commercial paper notes. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions from the commission? Okay, this is a public hearing. If there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item? All right.
Move to close public hearing, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close public hearing. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, public hearing now closed.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Next item, public hearing in action on first reading on ordinance number 235-2023-024 to rezone from agriculture to residential single-family to allow a single-family development for a 32.43 acre tract consisting of 32.41 acres out of Block 9, J.C. Bennett subdivision, and 0.02 acres being all out of Reserve Number 1, Abelardo Estates subdivision, located at Abrego Road.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners. So this request is to establish a single-family subdivision. The current zoning is agricultural. The request to rezone is to residential single-family, and the property is fronting Abrego Road. It is important to point out that this is an appealed case. It was denied by City Commission. I'm sorry, by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The applicant appealed their decision, and now it's been moved to you for your review. This is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 10 mailouts and 0 written opposition. This is the zoning map. The zoning that predominates is agricultural zoning. To the south, there's residential estate. So the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use plan. However, P&Z did recommend the denial due to the concerns that were presented by the neighbors to the south on Abelardo Estates. So the subdivision directly to the south, we did have several neighbors attend the P&Z meeting to express their concerns about through traffic. Now, for a subdivision this big and the proposed density that they're proposing of approximately 113 lots, they will require at least 3 to 4 access points. So they would be using Abrego Road, and there is a future road planned on the thoroughfare map directly to the west that is called April Lane. So they could potentially use that as well. So with that, do you have any questions?
So Martin, the first one would be, 'cause I know we're looking at rezoning here.
Yes.
Approval of rezoning will not in and of itself grant permission to connect to Abelardo Road, correct?
No, this is just looking at the use.
Now, the 3 access points, is it 3 or 4 that you mentioned?
Right.
Do we know where those might be?
It would be on Abrego Road and 2 on April Lane, which is not yet shown here because it's a future road. Now, it is the intent of the developer to use Abelardo as a means to connect to FM 511.
But that would have to be approved by the city, correct?
Not necessarily, because they bought the reserve that connects. Right now that we read the legal description, the reserve allows them to connect to that right away.
Are there any requirements with regard to upgrades to Abelardo, considering when we look at the number of houses there right now, this would potentially be 4 or 5 times more traffic on that strip of road versus what we see today? Would there be any requirement on the developer to have to make improvements to Abelardo to be able to do that?
Solely on their property.
Is there a higher standard required for commission approval tonight because it was denied by P&Z?
That is correct.
What's
Super
2/3
majority.
tonight?
Super majority.
Okay. Okay, I'll reserve the rest of my questions till after the public speaks.
Yes, go
All
ahead.
right, this is a public comment,
You-
public hearing, so
You can go ahead and
you
speak.
can come
yes.
come up and speak.
Good evening. Yes, my name is Marisela Garcia, and I live on.
Ms. Garcia, before you go, let's make sure the mic is right there for you.
Okay, I will always
Folks at
wait,
home
wait.
watching. hear
Thank you. Yes, good evening, Mayor, Commissioner, and all of us. I'm here representing Abelardo Estates residents. Y'all want to stand up? And we oppose this, and I'm sure you have a letter in front of you. Why? It's, first of all, it came to our attention, but we found out by 2 people who had gotten a letter. The rest of us didn't. It affects all of us, not just the 2 people at the end of the cul-de-sac, which is an end street, right? And let me see, you have the letter, but I'm gonna kind of go a little bit more into it. The infrastructure there, it just doesn't lend itself, the street. And one of us is the safety is most important here, what we're looking at. The first one is there's no street lights, no street lights at all. It's dark there because there's no houses or there's farm road everywhere, ranch. So it's kind of a little darker than what you would see in the city. Okay. The other one is we don't have sidewalks at all. We did ask years ago for that and it hasn't. And the street is I have a picture of the street when we bought the house in 1984. If you look at our street, the street here and the street now, it is exactly the same. Nothing has changed. No street lights, no pedestrian sidewalks, and the volume itself of the traffic that's gonna come from their 90s, I believe it's 97 apartments. You're talking about at least 97 cars or more going through that street. And the high volume does not allow that. The other thing is, even we have a bus that goes in from Los Fresnos to pick up students. And even when the bus comes, it's not a two-way street. It's not possible. The other car has to kind of go to the edge of the curb to allow the bus to pass. Because you can't, it's not wide enough. There's no streets, there's no lights. When it floods, one of the major safety there too is proper drainage. When it rains a lot and everything, it floods. It looks like a laguna. It looks like your house is in the middle of the ocean. And when that happens, it covers the street. It covers the drainage we have in front, because in front we have a drainage going through, and you can't even tell. You have to be very careful when driving through that. Okay, so we're very concerned about that. Everything that those apartments is gonna add to, it's not safe at all. So the proper drainage is not there. We don't have enough high volume, no sidewalks, no lights, very narrow street. We already have a machinery building in front that rents out machines. And so they go through that, they don't go through the whole street, but through some area. So that adds more to it, more stress to the street because it's not properly fixed or updated since then. So the other thing, let me see. Yes, I think I covered all, but the flooding really, it's very dangerous. The light, it compromised our safety. We, on behalf of the residents, we thank you, and we would like for you to consider not to permit access to our street. Anything else anybody would like to add? Oh, okay, since we still have time, but please consider that. Yes.
Hello, my name is Maribel Martinez, and I've been living at this property in Abelardo Estates for 20 years now. My boys grew up there, and I have called many times asking for someone to go out there, give us sidewalks, give us lights, fix our drainage. When the little old lady that drives the Los Fresnos bus comes in every morning to pick up our kiddos, I mean, I'm afraid that the cars that are coming by 70 miles an hour are gonna hit her and somebody's gonna get killed. And I've already bought that up and it's never been taken care of. So I just don't see how they can justify coming in with all these big trucks every single day, all day, to build apartments. They need to find a better way to get there. And there's other roads that can connect to that area. Very dangerous. It's not right. So please consider not accepting this because it's not right. Thank you.
Hi, my name is April Harder, and I'm April for April Lane. Like, that road was named after me in 1979, which is kind of cool, y'all have to admit. But I guess this is my first time coming here, and I just wanted to say that I'm concerned about the lack of communication that has happened. All of a sudden, my husband and I were just going down the road and all of a sudden this land is for sale. And I think there needs to be a lot more communication with the people that live there. Surely there can be some type of coordination. I think that's why we're here, asking y'all to advocate on behalf of us. I just wanted to make myself known and my husband and my mom. It's my mom's property. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see kind of like a dark green. That's where we live. We live on a quarter acre, or excuse me, an acre of land. And I think you had mentioned earlier that there's April Lane there, but today's the first time hearing that there's going to be, 2 entrances there. We don't have a paved road there. So it also gets very flooded. As a matter of fact, of course, it's flooded right now. So yeah, I think the thing that I'd like to ask is just for more coordination, more collaboration, more communication, I think with the residents. So I think that's what I have to say on my end. So Chris.
I was just gonna say, putting two.
Your name for the record,
My
sir.
name is Chris Harder. I'm her husband. Putting 2 entrances on April Lane would not be proficient for us. We're the only house on that road. It's a dirt caliche road, which when it rains, it's hard to go down, and to have more construction and other things on it would just be more difficult for us. Plus, they probably block it off, which would then cause us some issues. Plus, my biggest concern is the livestock that lives in that area. There's a lot of things like ocelots and jaguarundis and other things that are going extinct that could possibly be taken off of that land, or I don't know what they would do with it, that I would worry about. So that's one of the concerns, but the road is there, but it's not a very good road and just not something that would be beneficial to us living there, to have other people there.
Thank you.
Hello, Mayor, City Commissioner. My name is Lina Romero. I live at the entrance of Abelardo Drive. I've been there 30 years, and we have always had an issue regarding traffic flow, mainly because the street, one, is not conducive for the number of people that already reside on that street. The traffic that travels up and down there, we have approximately 29 houses built, average 2 cars, give or take, more depending. But then you add the school bus that comes down at least 3 times a day, and you have the trash people. And then we have on the corner, the entrance to this new rental place, heavy equipment rental place, that you have to actually turn into Abelardo to go into. That has become an issue, maybe not so much right now, only because as the trucks are coming in, because Abelardo is attaches to the east-west highway, frontage road. If you're not familiar, it is also the area where the 2-lane at 70 miles an hour goes into 1 of the toll road, if you're not familiar with that. So people are coming 70 miles an hour, which incidentally, on the corner of Abelardo at the entrance, they have just built like maybe 80, I'm not even sure the number of apartments. The entrance and exit are right there at Abelardo Drive as well. So you're gonna have people coming in and out of there. You're gonna have the traffic going 70 miles an hour, traveling into 1 lane, and the people trying to turn into Abelardo Drive, not to mention the fact that Abelardo Drive is the only existing street right now. So guess who's going to be utilized to build and do all the infrastructure for that community at this time? It does not support anything more than what we have, and it doesn't even support what we have in use right now. It's a danger because, again, you got the school bus, when it comes in, if one of the heavy equipment trucks is coming out, that poor driver has got 2 wheels on the dirt and 2 wheels on the pavement if they're lucky. Okay, that is the entrance. The entrance also has a slight curve. We have had people land in the ditch on the curve because someone was coming, they didn't see each other, and they went into the ditch, took out the mailbox on the neighbors. It is not conducive for this type of property. We're not opposed to the development of homes in that area. It's just the street cannot be utilized. It will not work. It'll be a safety hazard. We're talking children's school buses. We're talking the residents going in and out of the new development, the apartment or condos that they build on the corner, and the traffic coming out of that one large trucking rental place that's on the corner. I live at the entrance. I see all of that. And we suggest that, we highly recommend that it not be approved for the sake of the fact that, one, the area will become undesirable. Because when you know that all that stuff is existing, the traffic, the jams, the possible accidents, and heaven forbid someone get killed there, it will become undesirable. So it defeats the purpose of growth. And as far as when we're doing planning and zoning, not considering the streets and the infrastructure as part of that is just blows my mind. At the last meeting of the city commission, it was like, that's not my job. Excuse me? We're building a community. We should see the whole picture, not just the little piece of dirt that's there. It's up for sale. It is for sale. So it's not to be built on tomorrow, it's for sale. So it's for profit, it's not for anything that's going to help us today, but it will affect the residents of that community. My husband and I retired, we're veterans, we built there, we've lived our life for 30 years, we raised our children, and to see something like this happen to our street, our quiet street, which we have all together as a community fought to maintain, is really sad to see that we may have 100+ houses in the back that'll be using our street, and they will use Abelardo Drive because it's accessible to the frontage road. It will be the main entrance. And if the city's not, if you have not been there, it is a county road. It's not a developed city paved street. Someone's going to end up in the ditches, especially in real bad rains, because as I said, it does flood. So I thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Jose Luis Martinez. I'm also a resident there, and hearing Mr. Bennett? Mr. Vega, claiming that in the future, you're gonna have April Road run down that canal that we see there, all the way to 511? This right here, gonna go this way? So it's gonna be coming in to 511. At 511, exactly where that road is gonna be, that's where the exit to the toll road also comes out. After it went down to 2 lanes to 1 lane where Abelardo, the corner is, which there's only one street light in that whole street in our subdivision. As the other residents had mentioned to you all, there's no street. It basically, like one of ours said, since she bought there for 20 or 30 years, the road has been the same. I'm the one that calls whenever there's potholes. Thank you, the city goes promptly, but they only fill it up and they only skip a couple of them to come back later. So I don't know. But we do have an issue there. Safety, as I said, because of the speed and now the new development, and I'm hearing that that person that built that apartment complex is also planning to build next to it another 80 or 90, 100 more apartments. So that is going to be a very congested thoroughfare, and it's going to cause a major problem for everybody. But as far as our street, that's the main issue we're here. We don't want the access granted to this developer. He can build somewhere else, other accesses. The behind it on the right-hand side, isn't that Old Dallas Road? Apparently, sometime in the future, I'm hearing also that Dallas Road is going to be upgraded all the way to Los Fresnos. So why can't he tap into that? Leave our community as it is. You know, we bought there with the 2-acre lots because we wanted the peace and quiet and tranquility, not the what's coming. So thank you for your time.
Bring the mic down for her, guys.
Buenas tardes a todos los comisionados. Me da mucho gusto verlos. Mi nombre es Olga Longoria. Yo vivo en el 7354 Abelardo. Cuando yo compré ahí, soy una de las fundadoras, de las primeras que llegó ahí, hace 40 años. Me gustó porque era una entrada y salida. Y vi la seguridad, porque venía con mi familia pequeña. Y Esos 40 años hemos padecido, por los últimos 10 años, que le he hecho mucho la petición a la ciudad, he levantado firmas, me pusieron en obras públicas, ¿verdad? Que iban a llegar los beneficios. Tengo 73 años, ya mero parto de aquí. ¿Y los beneficios dónde están? El único que estuvo muy al pendiente de nosotros y que le estoy muy agradecido, cuando éramos condado, recibimos más beneficios que los que tenemos ahora. A mí en lo personal, el comisionado Carlos Cascos, en esos años, me decía, señora Longoria, prepárese el café y yo me llevo el pan. Y ahí nos reunimos todos. Y así fue. Recibimos muy buenos beneficios de él. Ahora que somos city, yo quisiera regresar atrás, ser condado. Las taxas son más altas y los beneficios no llegan. Ok, yo vengo a hacer una petición a la ciudad. Traigo todas las firmas que han firmado mi comunidad. Mi comunidad se ha estado despierta, al pendiente, pero hemos sobrevivido con lo que acaba de decir el señor Martínez o la señora García, y hemos padecido. No tenemos, como le digo, yo necesito las banquetitas ya, porque para no tropezarme, pero bueno, ahí estamos. Quiero entregarle las firmas, no sé a quién, para que lo pongan en obras públicas, por favor. Yo lo mandé y yo pienso que no está archivado, no está archivado. Obras públicas no lo archivó. Y he insistido bastante y no he tenido respuesta. Mi comunidad lo sabe. Y les digo respetuosamente que les agradezco bastante, ¿verdad? Que escuchen esta petición. Queremos beneficios, los merecemos, pagamos taxas. Y voy a hablar a obras públicas, a ver si ponen en la lista ya o nos adelantan un poquito más para adelante, que miren los años que hemos padecido sin luces, pues como dice uno, tiene que poner la lucecita alta cuando entra, porque es una área, también les voy a decir, peligrosa. En esa área que van a hacer esas casas, hay mucho coyote, mucha víbora de cascabel. Porque yo en las noches, en las puertas traseras, cuando las víboras están frías, las miro atravesadas en las puertas traseras. Es que cuidado, mucho cuidado, porque va a haber niños. Yo no quisiera ver una situación difícil para las familias. Muchas gracias y tengo plasmado Abelardo Estates, una comunidad muy bonita, muy segura, muy unidos, ¿me entiende? Y quiero vivir el presente y no queremos arriesgar el futuro, queremos asegurarlo para nuestra comunidad. Muchas gracias y Dios los bendiga y esperamos que esto acabe aquí, no volvernos a venir otra vez. Y de esa manera me despido. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, señora.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Samuel Luna, también vivo en la Abelardo Estates. Y cuando yo estaba trabajando con la ciudad, fíjese que todavía no vivía ahí, pero iba a los accidentes que había y los accidentes no eran menores, eran grandes, ¿verdad? Yo trabajé para el departamento de bomberos por 3 años y ahí cuando compré allí, pues se me hizo como dice la señora, tranquilo, bien. Y ahí donde llegué comenzaban a hacer el 550 Expressway. Dije, hijo, mi niña apenas estaba comenzando a manejar. Dije, ya valió. Pero, gracias a Dios, todo salió bien. Me enseñé a manejar bien. So, Lo que trato de decir yo, los accidentes que pasan ahí no son de que te vas a aliviar mañana. They're very highly accidents. And there's death involved. And I was at Station 7, and I was a third unit. And when you send a third unit to an accident, that means it's a big accident, major accident, which we call. So when we get there, of course, you're gonna see people already dead. Pick them up, put them in the stretcher, and that's quite a bit to get from Military Road all the way to 511 with my lights on, and we still had people couldn't make it. And by that time, the ambulance, I mean, we didn't have a lot, which I think we still don't have a lot, because there are, I think, 9 stations, and the city is overgrown. Overgrown ambulance, I can tell you stories, hell stories, but I'm gonna keep it down. And like the lady said, we had that, jail, Carrizales built, problems. And then we had that Bill 550 built, problems. And nobody came to help Abelardo Drive. Now we have this speed limit, like the lady said, 70 miles and then 60, then 70, and then you're gonna hit old Alice. And I personally, myself, I had to stop because this 18-wheeler was coming fast, trying to beat the red light. Before it turned red, he tried to beat it. He passed the red line. Luckily, I was aware. I didn't go. And all those accidents are gonna continue happening. And with this apartments coming up and then it closing to one lane, come on, who's our commissioner? I don't even know who's our commissioner. You are? Well, last time I came over here, you was the only one to speak. So.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let me talk to you. And help us out. I mean, when I got there, I paid $2,000 taxes. Now I'm paying like $7,000 or $8,000. And no improvements? Really? And we got the hydrants about 3-4 years ago. Finally, we got the hydrants. Because every house that was gonna get there was gonna get burned. The only reason we got that, because I guess of the developments of the new houses, and now we got schools. Somebody forgot about the schools. We got 70 miles. We got 2 schools there. One for Fresnos and Olmito. Heaven forbid, a bus. Come on. And then you want to put 96 houses over here or 100-something houses and use our street? Come on. Give us a break. Stop that. Make those guys, they got money. Make those guys make that damn street on our Alice. Another street, they want to make 10 streets for their subdivision. They got money. We don't have money. We paying our taxes. Because those suckers are not gonna get bored. They're not even gonna live there. Come on. Now, if an accident happens to me, I might be in bankruptcy. Those guys are not. The only thing I'm trying to say, help us out. These people are not allowed to drive, which I know. We're just calm, retire, and I retired from the fire department too. Like I said, we went to a lot of calls, and those calls are not nice. They're terrible. Amputations, death, and I seen it all. And I don't want that thing to happen over there with those schools. Because I'm gonna come and, well, you guys gonna maybe not sleep well after we came over here and complain and let you know that we're trying to prevent a damn accident from those children's to our kids, to our mothers, to our grandmothers, because that street is gonna be a lot of traffic. Help us out. And I hope you guys do the right thing. And they say they don't have money. Really? They got money. They can build streets of gold if they want. But we haven't had streets of gold. We haven't even had damn lights. And we pay, all together, I think we pay like $200-something thousand a year. Give us some lights and some streets. Just that. Don't give us more people to exit our road. That's all I came here to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ruby Garcia. I have been living there for 20 years. She was born there. And yes, I'm very concerned about the traffic and the safety of my family. I myself used to run in our street, but since the time and everything, it was getting very, it was not safe for me to be out there running every day. So I decided to go to the park. But aside from that, if people are, two cars coming, people walking, we don't really have a walkway access, like the family can't really go out there and walk, even though our community is quiet and safe, because we don't have that access there. I mean, if I was running and people were coming, I'm gonna go to the ditch and kind of keep running there, but I am very concerned. I do not agree with this opening of the end of the street because of, like we mentioned, and all the members here, or the neighbors here, this is going to affect us directly because there's a lot of families that are going to be coming through the street, a lot more traffic, and like we've talked about the bus, my kids have all gone to school on the same bus. And I'm always worried about the bus when it leaves the subdivision because of that new way where it's the mileage that is there, it's too high for the people. The ones that don't live there, they don't know there's that people are coming out. Then we have the new apartments. If we have plus this, not only that new subdivision, there's gonna be the other subdivisions that are connected to that subdivision that are gonna use that street, because if I was living there, I would definitely use that street just to avoid other traffic, school traffic, and a way to get to work or wherever I wanted to go. So I know that other people are gonna think that way. So I don't agree, because then this affects me, right? Because they don't see it that way. They're gonna look for the better solution. We're here stuck in this one little street that can't even support our own cars with our own families, and nonetheless support all these other families that are gonna come through there, and any other public people that are gonna wanna get to those people's homes, plus other homes. So I just wanted to voice my opinion on that, and I would be very happy if you really think about it and think about the neighbors and everybody that lives there, our families. And the main reason is to keep our families safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, I do believe the developer is here.
Do they want to speak?
Good afternoon, Mayor Cowan and members of the commission. I'm happy to be here representing Raluz Properties in the development of this potential property. And I'd like to point out the concerns of the residents. I do feel for their concerns. I have seen the condition of the street, and it is in dire need of repair. And on behalf of Raluz, I request that the city please pay a closer attention to their requests in the safety and security. But as a developer, I'd also like to point out that we purchased Reserve B with full compliance with any existing city ordinances that was necessary for accessing Abelardo Road, and the proposed rezoning should proceed with these guidelines. As far as there's another issue that the residents presented, and it was the flooding. So as a developer, there is attention to that sewage system that we have to also implement, which would alleviate some of the flooding that they're concerned about. The entrance to the proposed property is also going to have sufficient lighting, which will also aid in their lack of. As far as the sidewalks, I wish we could do more, but this, I understand, is an issue from the original builder of that subdivision. Now, Abelardo Estates, when it was platted in 1980, it was a proposed residential area. We are not doing anything different other than finally developing. As far as the exclusivity of the neighborhood, I also understand their concerns. If I would have purchased there 40 years ago and I've seen the city grow, well, then I would have a concern regarding traffic and alleviating that type of issues. But as with any city, Our city is built on the principles of inclusivity and shared resources. Restricting access to Abelardo Road would set a precedent that could negatively affect and impact our ability to connect neighborhoods efficiently, leading to isolation and inefficiency in our urban planning. There are proposed streets such as April Lane and others surrounding the property. There are other properties around Abelardo Estates that are also proposed for development. Our property is not the only one that will be developed. I understand that it is also crucial to remember that our roads and streets are public resources meant to benefit the entire community. And while I understand that desire to maintain a sense of exclusivity within Abelardo Estates subdivision, it is not in the best interest of our city to restrict public access to any public road. As I mentioned before, the city plans to develop April Lane, which is located to the west of the 32 acres, and this lane will alleviate traffic in Abelardo Road, which is also a public road. The original Abelardo Estates subdivision, as I mentioned, contemplated a connecting subdivision to the north of Abelardo Estates. So as you can see, the subject property in its original design and plan eventually was going to get, this was proposed before these residents actually existed. They moved in 84. The plat was in 1980. So I request that you consider us moving forward in development, and we will try to address any concerns that we can as a developer with the residents to make their understanding and touching base with safety and security and traffic. Thank you for your attention.
Martin, the streets that surround this area that's being proposed for rezoning, all of those are city streets?
In their majority, yes.
So April, Abrigo, Old Alice?
Yes.
Those aren't anything that the developer would be improving as part of this, correct? And if this is not approved tonight, is there a delay for how long it would be before they could reapply?
Yes, 1 year.
1 year, okay. So let me say first to the residents out there, Jose Luis and Maribel know how to get a hold of me. They've got my number. So if there's not just this issue, but any other issues you guys are having, I look forward to the opportunity to be able to come out there and visit with you guys on lighting, on sidewalks, and other things that the city might be able to do for you guys. On this issue tonight, and I understand while there's no legal obligation for the developer to do anything, there's also nothing that would prohibit the developer from doing something to improve Abelardo for the neighbors and just being a good neighbor. I know it's a hard sell for me, and I understand this is area that has always been intended for development. But I think as we look at master plans for the city and other things we're doing, and just like the capital recovery fee that we're implementing right now, it's about ensuring the infrastructure is there to meet the needs of the future. And right now, the infrastructure is not there as far as Abelardo goes to be able to accommodate adding 97 more residences in that area. And maybe someday, if it's the city who's going to do that, to build out Abelardo to a full road, curbs and gutters and everything in the future, then I'd be more inclined to support the rezoning. But at this point, I just don't see that little road is enough for the type of traffic we'd be inflicting on this area. That's just my thoughts on it.
So I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And you actually have three commissioners. You have Commissioner De Los Santos, you have Commissioner Villarreal, and myself, because we're at large. We cover the whole city. And I think it's safe to say that I speak for Commissioner Villarreal, that I will always advocate for you to be able to walk, ride your bike, or jog in your street in front of your house safely. If you can't, there's something wrong. And so whenever it is that we're able to improve your street, or if another developer wants to improve your street for you, then I will advocate for that. But thank you all for coming out. and giving us your impressions.
Certainly by coming out, I want to thank you so much. You guys could be laying down, watching TV, maybe having a nice dinner, but you know what? You're here and you're open to the conversation. This is the best way to go about it. Come out, you reach out to your commissioners and have that representation to represent you and to meet the needs that are so heavily needed in your area. And so in discussion and hearing what the residents comment on of the needs, definitely streetlights are an issue, sidewalks, drainage is another issue, and I feel there's too many issues and we need to fix what they're going through right now before we can think about having others or another development in the area. So those are my comments in regards to this.
I just want to echo what Commissioner Gowan said. I'm Tino Villarreal. This is my second month as commissioner, but I am at large. So I am your commissioner as well. And I wanted you to take my cell phone down, 956-538-3247. That's okay. 956-538-3247. And it's unfortunate that things like this are the reason that we find out just the entry to your homes, right? And the safety. And just, I just wanted you to know that please contact me. And if I don't respond, please come back and public comment and call me out on that, because I'm committed to helping in whatever capacity I can to help the infrastructure where you live, because safety, security is very, very important to all of us up here. And if we got elected to do anything, it starts with streets, development, and safety, and lights, and everything that you discussed today. Yes, sir.
Thank all three of you that made a comment towards our efforts here that we're trying to improve, as far as drainage, talked about. We just got sewer about,
Sorry to interrupt. Could you go up to the podium?
thanks, sir. I think my voice carried a lot, but
And also just to let you know, we asked to speak in the mic only because they can hear you in there too.
I want to thank you for saying that you all are part of Roy and you all cover our area as well. Sewer, we only got about 5 years ago. We barely got. So Olmito, I'm thinking, is the one that's carrying the load of our waste. So if I don't know where this developer is going to be tapping into, if he's going to tap into the existing line off of Abelardo, that's going to put a lot more strain on the little municipality of Olmito water supply and the sewer problem, the plant that's there. I see we don't know all these things. We're just bringing this up so you can be aware. And if at any point you all want to go see it, our street at night, you'll see what we say. It's dark because the only light is up in the front where you're on 511. Everything else is pitch black. So unless you have your own light that you pay to whatever electrical company, that's the only lighting that we have in those streets. So thank you again for letting us know that you all also are our commissioners there and not only Roy. So thank you again.
And just for the record, could you say your name?
Luis Martinez.
Okay, my name is Chris Harder. We're the only residents on April Lane, which is a dirt road, which it's only one lane. So to add more traffic to it would have to be widened. At this time, it's just not enough to widen it. And there's no lights there, no sidewalk, no nothing. It's dark down that road, so you don't know what's going on there. People park at the end of the road and everything else. So it's just frustrating that they want to put something there, especially putting two lanes or two entrances on our road. would just make it more difficult for us to get there or back to where we need to be. And then the Abrigo Road, which is the one that's north of us, that runs east to west, that one hasn't been developed either. It's still a dirt road up into that area. And it needs to be more developed before they can even develop anything else there, because the development that's already there, it's still difficult. They tend to run stop signs and other things, so it's frustrating for us to even leave. So I just don't see all that going there that would help right now as far as anything goes.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to reiterate what Commissioner Gowan said. I think this, just like to thank you guys for coming. This is what community engagement looks like when a neighborhood unifies and comes together and voices their concerns or any issues that you may have. If you guys didn't show up, we wouldn't know these issues. So I think that means a lot. And just to add to Commissioner Gowan as well, there are actually 4 people you can contact. I'm also in there as well because I represent you guys as well. So with that said, I think I'll entertain a motion to
I'll
close.
move to close, Mayor.
Public comment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Public comment is now closed.
I'll move to deny the request.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. Any further discussions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. You said aye. Right.
That happened to me last week.
Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, we have items for individual consideration and action on resolution number 2023-115 to adopt BTX mobility plan to help guide efficient, safe, and effective transportation for health, safety, and welfare of the city of Brownsville.
Mayor, City Commissioners, good evening. We're following the final stages of the BTX mobility plan that will lay out our future infrastructure needs as far as sidewalks and trails and everything that was actually talked about in the meeting before or the item before. We have our consultants that will provide a summary. And so we'll have Ed here give a quick update. The full document was very, very large, and so we included a link that was in your packet, and so hopefully you had a chance to review it. But further ado, Ms. Ed.
Thanks. Thank you, Joel. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, thank you this evening. I'm glad to be here on behalf of Alliance Transportation Group. My name is Ed Elam. I'm a transportation planner, but I'm also Vice President and Director of Planning. I'm also not technically adept, so please apologize if we run through this like a machine gun, but I will try to keep it on pace. Again, we appreciate everyone's support for this project. It's been a team effort. We spent a good bit of time with the city in the multimodal department, and our partners at HAF and Freeze and Nichols have been also integral in the process. Like I told you, I'm going to go the wrong way. So let's talk about what the plan is. We heard a good bit tonight about safety, wanting streets that are energized and multimodal, also having a plan in place to figure out where we're growing and how is the transportation network going to keep pace. You've got all of this in the mobility plan. Quite simply, it is a team effort of data analysis, community input, stakeholder engagement, looking at creating a safe, clean, and efficient urban transportation system that is multimodal. And when we say multimodal, we mean cars, buses, pedestrians, bicycles, all in a safe operating environment. Now, the process we're here tonight, and if I'm a little loud, I can step back. I do call pigs on the side, so that's why I'm a little loud. It actually kicked off last year. And in the kickoff process, we went ahead and started looking technically at the network to figure out where are the hot spots, where are the issues, where are the needs, where are the deficiencies, where are the opportunities. That led us to our public engagement, which took place right here in Brownsville at a variety of meetings and activities where we actually asked folks about their experience with transportation. We also took a look at best practices. We realized Brownsville is growing. It's also unique in that we have a lot of transportation occurring in a very small space, because not only do we have the highways and roads and transit and ped and bikes that we know, but we also have port, airport, international trade. All of this is a consideration because they're all on the same network. Again, we take a look at various options. If the city is growing in a certain direction, we need to know how that affects transportation and how we can anticipate the growth and plan accordingly. Our recommendations were delivered early this year. And basically, we spent that time working with staff to walk through the recommendations to make sure that they meet all of the needs that the city has. We also have on this a companion piece on the CIPR, which is also under development, and we, in effect, have those projects in the plan as well. So again, the plan is quite large, but it is quite comprehensive. Think of this as your blueprint, your driving directions for developing a safe, efficient, and necessary network to not only meet the needs of your community today, but also of those folks who will be coming in tomorrow. One of the things that this plan will do is establish the opportunity to change some policy. We heard earlier tonight from Andrew Cannon about the great projects going on at RGV. This is your opportunity to take what's in the mobility plan and bring it to the RGV and make some things happen. It's your capital project list. It is your ideas. It is your opportunity to make some success happen. But certainly it does require some thoughts about policy changes and policy adoption. And there are some things that we've provided in the document which will guide you to creating a truly efficient and safe system. One of the things that's exciting about Brownsville is that you have some investment going on in transit. So we went ahead and captured a good bit of that and have tried to look at the opportunities to make transit a much more integral part of all transportation here in the city. So again, thank you to the transit group. We actually took a look at some opportunities to create microtransit, which is the on-demand service that's so popular in many communities. We also realized that with the demands and the land use that's occurring in the community, there's an opportunity for high-capacity transit as well. This would actually be much more frequent, much more accessible. Excuse me, I was going to sneeze. And it would be available to many more folks here in the community. We also are looking at the opportunity for creating some additional transit hubbing, which actually puts more service into neighborhoods and creates opportunity nodes, possibly for business development, as some transit systems have done. But it also creates centers where you can get to places from places and actually move much faster and much more efficiently through the community. So again, one of the unique things, and this is kind of applicable to the discussion which we just had, there's an actual thoroughfare plan component here which actually identifies the locations of existing roads, new roads, and future improvements. Thanks to the input of the community and the council, the commission, we actually have some great go-tos and guides for how to make the streets much more multimodal, how to put peds and bikes on every street, how to actually create systems that provide safe, efficient systems for them to actually travel along with vehicles through most of the community. And then also, where do these systems actually interact and how do you tie them together? Because again, one of the tests that you're going to be asked is, does your plan show the opportunity to transfer from mode to mode? And does it show the opportunity to provide service across all segments of the community? We have succeeded with your partnership in doing that. In creating these multimodal corridors, these are locations where you may want to think about prioritizing investment in the future. Some of that will be locally driven. Some of that will be driven with input from RGV. And again, we've given you the tools necessary to make those decisions happen. We're also looking at safety because we realize the roads are only as safe as the facilities themselves and the driver habits that are going on. So we've realized that looking at crash statistics, there are some locations where maybe some safety improvements could take place. And again, we've given you the information necessary to look at those either at a local level for implementation or to look at those regionally. Again, one of the most important things is that in a growing city, you anticipate that and in fact find where those new roads should be going. And we're giving you the opportunity to look at not only where they should be, but also how they should be financed with developer input. But there also is opportunity for the city to look at this as a tool to leverage other available state and federal funding. And with that, I think I only made one slide misstep, but again, I'll welcome any questions.
Can you go to the slide that showed the number of, one more back, that one?
Yes, ma'am.
So so where are protected bike lanes?
The specific locations of the protected bike lanes?
And in other words, when you list 10 miles of bike lanes, is that bike lanes on the street? Are they protected bike lanes?
It's actually going to be considered bike lanes on the street, but then we also have the protected systems that are already the recreational trails in place that they would be interfaced with. It does not include those numbers, is my understanding.
So the bike lanes that you're recommending are not protected, any of them?
Okay, thank you, Joel.
Commissioner, this is an addition to the current sidewalk and trail master plan that we have. And so I know in that master plan that was approved here does have more robust, protected bike lane, improvements or recommendations. Since this was a multimodal, it includes some of that, but then for this presentation, we just only added what was added, whatever besides whatever's in that other master plan.
Okay, because I don't want it said that we are not going to expand the number of protected bike lanes in the city.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need to make that modification, also make sure, if you can check and make sure it's integrated and it's accounted for. There's like a 120-page document behind these 10 slides. And I know they have included maps of what we've approved in other documents, but just please ensure, double check on this item.
Yes, ma'am, we will do that. Thank you. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments here? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I would just say this is the first time in the city's history that you're actually approving your own city mobility plan. So hopefully,
great.
congratulations
Great.
if this vote is approved.
No further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 2, consideration and action on resolution number 2023-120, adopting procedures for review of billboard applications.
Mayor, if I may, before we even go into the presentation, upon review of the resolution in the packet, there's a couple of points that raise concern for me that I'd like to be able to visit with council on, just some of the language. So if there's no objections, I'd like to move to table this item. And let me say also to the department, I don't want that to delay the process. I think anybody who's got applications in the pipeline should be on track to go before P&Z in November. But before we pass this resolution, I'd like to massage the language a little bit with our legal department. So
Will
that's
that
a
be
motion to
brought
table.
in on the next commission meeting? Or-
October
So
17th.
October 17th.
Yes,
Correct.
That's when we'll see it, okay. Okay,
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
that's the motion.
and a
motion.
second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I do have a question.
Sure.
I was told by somebody trying to do this that there's two ways that it's being done. One is taking it to the state first and the other to the city first. I do think we need to figure out what the correct way is going to be. I just don't want people to be going both ways and then we don't meet the distance that we may want to meet, whatever it may be. So just hopefully you can put that in there as well, what the process should be.
Well, I would say that, just like Texas Road, sometimes with distance requirements, can I have that driveway apron? We ask them, okay, well, but we'll coordinate that to make sure that we all get the same answer, right, sir? So we can put that in the
Thank you.
process.
Agreed.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Item tabled.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries.
The following items will be considered during executive session. Item number 1, closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, consultation with attorney, and 551.087, economic deliberation regarding project first. Item number 2, closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, consultation with attorney, including discussion of anticipated or pending litigation regarding the Dead Star Bill 2127 and ETJ opt-out bill SB 2038.
But
I know. That's because we have seniority. Right, Rose? Oh.
Mayor, it is now 7:36. Item number 1, consideration and action, if any, related to Project First.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to proceed as discussed in executive session.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carries.
Item number 2, consideration and action, if any, related to Death Star Bill HB 2127 and ETJ Opt-out Bill SB 2038.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to proceed as discussed in executive session.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
It is now 7:37. Meeting has ended.